Good evening, everyone. Welcome tonight again to another edition of Life Journey with Lambam, and I hope you had a good week. Good to see everyone tonight on this platform. And from the caption on the video, I would be discussing, and today's topic would be a bit of interactive because I want people, when I'm talking, I want you to be putting your input as well so we can learn from each other. And what we would be talking about today is how to deal with stress. How to deal with stress. Stress, as we all know, stress is not anything close to being healthy. As we all know, we should know stress is very dangerous to ourselves, to our body, to our mind, and to everyone around us. Even sometimes, stress can even make us to misbehave to people around us. And stress is something we as individuals in a journey of life, we all go through at one point in time in our life. We all have something that is stressing us, something that makes us feel inadequate as well. So today, I would be talking more about how to deal with stress. One of the most important decisions anybody can make in life is to actually make up your mind you don't want to be a stress case. If you actually make up your mind to actually know how to deal with stress, because it will always come, it will always appear, and we all realize most of this stress or most of the things we as human beings we call stress comes from inside our mind. It comes from our mind. Sometimes we get stressed due to times we get stressed because we think the timing of things are too slow for us. Maybe we put ourselves in a particular shoe when we feel stress, when we feel we are lacking behind about some things that our mates have actually done, or we just give ourselves some false timing. We give ourselves some false thing that I need to do this at this time. If I don't do this, someone else around me is doing it. It actually disturbs us. So most of this stress comes from inside, and it depends on us. If we actually make up your mind, like, I don't want this thing to stress me, I don't want to be a stress case, because sometimes it's not what happens physically, it actually comes from inside our mind. And when it comes to inside our mind, it try to bring us down, it try to just want us to feel less of ourselves, and we start generating that stress from our mind and our brain. We start processing what is not. We start judging ourselves for what we don't have. We start judging ourselves for some shortcomings in our life. We start judging ourselves because of some failure in some particular phase of our life, and we feel we're going to be pounding about that, and in turn in that stress will come into her. And stress is very dangerous. It leads to a lot of health issues. I'm not a doctor. I can actually be telling you diseases that come from stress, but even little stress, you can even have an headache. A simple headache comes from stress. Sweating, these are just couple of things I've seen around, couple of things I've witnessed when we give ourselves false alarm. And sometimes this stress comes when we're the one that will be asking ourselves the question, why is it that this is not working for me? Why is it that I'm in this part? We start giving ourselves extra problems. We start giving our mind, we start stressing our brain unnecessarily, and that is what leads to stress. And over the years, I realized, I sat down and thought to myself, I don't want to be a stress case. There are so many things that I don't really like. There are so many things I want to do. And I sat down to myself and realized, I understand timing. I understand the implication of some good things in life. But if it's not coming and I feel the right time would come, I shouldn't put my stress, or I shouldn't ponder on day, because there's some things as individuals we cannot help ourselves. We cannot do anything about it. It's when the time is right that it comes true for us. So over the years, I've put on my mind that, listen, I don't want to be a stress case, and I've actually practiced some few things, and it's actually been working. But for me, it's not that the stress will not come. It's not that there are some things you think that is not working. It's not that those times we will be overwhelmed because no one is perfect. Those times will come when you start questioning yourself. But if you use those tips, it will actually help one or two persons out there going through one thing that leads to stress. And I hope every one of us want to have health complications, because with stress a lot of health complications can come in, and at the end of the day we realize when those things we think we're supposed to have, when we actually have it, we actually realize we start pounding over about our health. So sometimes when it's good to avoid some things, we can actually talk to ourselves, we can actually advise ourselves and just say to avoid some things, this and this we would go through. Like I said, we would always get overwhelming. So the first thing I have practiced, and I would like to tell viewers today, when you're in stress, or when you think something is bothering you, or when you think you're less of yourself, the first thing you need to do is to get perspective of that situation. Meaning, you need to make up your mind, I don't want to be a stress case. The moment you make up your mind, you don't want to be a stress case, the moment part of your problem is solved. The moment you feel, okay, this is what is important for me in my life, this is what I need to do towards it. And some things are not really important, but inside us, we think it's important, and we start running the race we're not supposed to. We start stressing ourselves unnecessarily. When we as individuals actually understand, we want to get perspective of any situation we go through, even though sometimes it might not be cool for her, sometimes it might not be a happy thing, but we, in as much as individuals who get hold of a perspective, we get hold of a situation and actually say, we don't want to be a sorry case. I want to do what is right. I want to do what is more important. I want to set my priorities right. If this is important, what can I do? If this is not important, can I do this later? If this is what I need to do now and I feel, I don't have the resources, how can I get the resources? You put yourself like, how would your highest self behave to things like that? How would your highest self deal with situations like that? When you get perspective of the situation, you realize the level of stress that always pound on us will actually reduce, and we actually know, or we are actually in charge of a situation. The moment you realize what someone has, even if you don't have it now, that doesn't mean you won't have, and you even get more than that in future. The moment we feel, this is what I want to do now, it's just, like I said, it's a mindset. We need to manage our mind. We need to manage our psychology. We need to manage our brain. Like I said, stress is not something we see on our body. It's the implication of stress that come out of our body, like the health issues and like maybe our skin, our mood. But one thing is, a lot of people, their stress builds upon what has been going in their mind. So like I said, if we can actually get perspective, like you want to take hold of your situation and you want to feel whatever comes your way, I'm not saying we would sit there and sleep that it came my way. No, I'm not saying that. But the moment you feel, okay, it's come your way, what should I do? You put yourself in a perspective stage. It will actually help you to take a step ahead of stress in your life. And that will take me to the next topic, to the next tip of managing stress as well. That's right. It is good when you're stressed, it's good to breathe in and out. A lot of times people get panic. People panic, right? Like people panic over what is not. When something gets to some people, or when some people are in a particular situation, they just get panic. So when you know you have that overwhelming stress, when you know that thing in what you're planning is not going on well, or there's something bothering you, all you need to do, this to me, what I'm telling you is not Lambert saying, this is more science. It's for us to breathe in and out. When we open our breathing, when we breathe, it brings life to us. We actually get what we're trying to do. But in any situation, in any awkward situation, the number one thing that should come to our mind as ourselves at every point in time is to realize we need to breathe in and out. Because sometimes when we breathe in, we let out some polluted air and brings in a fresh air. And we all know breathing is life. So when we are overwhelmed, or when we feel, we're stressed, we've got tension all around, our work, among friends, among colleagues, in our relationship, in life situations, and we don't know what to do at that point in time, rather, because some people Some people can fail, some people misbehave, some people do a lot of things, and the stress will even tag them a particular name. No one wants to be with someone that is always cranky, even though you see some people, they're always happy. You think they don't have issues, or you think they don't cry in their closet, or you think there's not something they actually want so bad and they don't have it. They do, but you don't have to bring it outside. So it's better when you find yourself in a case that can actually take you to the level of being stressed, to the level of getting overwhelmed. Viewers, it's good to breathe in and out. Give yourself a breath of fresh air and you realize the tension, the overwhelming that can build up that stress, like I said, will actually reduce and it will actually help as well. And another thing that helps me as well when I'm faced with stress or when something is bothering me and I think this can cause me a lot of hazard, and I think to myself like, take a walk. Like, it's actually good to have a breath of fresh air. Take a walk. It might be 20 minutes to 45 minutes walk. Take a walk. It opens your mind because, like I said, you would be overwhelmed. Maybe you have tension in your work and you think things are too much. You think you have issues turning on you. There's so expectations for you, even in your family, among friends, and you feel, your head is going. Some people will even say their head wants to break down. There's a lot of things stress can cause, and it's very, very dangerous. Like I said, it's better for us to take a walk out, have fresh air, think about it. You will realize that by the time you come back to that situation, even if it's a disagreement, even if it's a fight, just take a walk. Calm yourself. It actually distresses you. It brings you back to your normal self. You can actually think by the time you walk for more than 20 minutes, that's where people, when they go for yoga, they do a lot of exercises. In another way, it can be an exercise. It's good to move your body. It actually helps you to reduce stress as well, rather than staying in a particular place, pondering on what you cannot do or what you don't even have power to do, even though you feel that's what you actually need at that point. If you don't have the power, when you walk around, you free yourself. You can actually have a clue to something that will take you off that mess, and in that way, you realize the stress will not build up. You realize you would actually make a good decision in whatever you want to do, and with that, it will actually distress you, and it will help you as well, and it will make it to be a stress case as well. The last thing I do, and I do it on a daily basis, is really important. Like I said when I started this channel, which we talk about managing our time. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's the most important thing that would actually help us to manage the stress, because the stress will come. You would have days, you would have bad days. You would have days where everything you do is not good enough. So rather than you killing yourself, rather than you getting so stressed, having this thunder headache, having temperature, behaving erratic to people around you, to your spouse, to your friends, it's better for you to get organized. As human beings, we need to get organized. We need to know what is important to us at every point of our life. We need to know what we want to do in our life. We need to have a weekly planner. We need to have a yearly planner. We need to have a monthly one. We need to have a yearly one. In those times, we break it down. That is managing our time and every resources we need in life. It's good to manage. If a wife does not manage her family, what you would see. If a husband does not manage his family as well, any responsibility given to us, even if it's a work, even if there's a lot of people looking up onto you, it might be in church, it might be in a social gathering. If you don't manage what is important, if you don't set what is priority, it will cause a lot of problems, it will cause a lot of issues. So it's better for us to manage our time, to know what we are doing, to know what is important, to know what can wait for others, to know how to spend money, to know how to plan our day, to know how to do our chores. In all these, when we do that step by step, you realize a lot of people, they don't even have any clue of what they are doing in a day. And at the end of the day, you realize they've not actually achieved nothing. And they keep saying, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, because they had no clue in planning. Planning is one important thing we as individuals, if you want to have a good quality of life, we need to actually plan everything that we want to do in our life. We need to have, if we don't do it, it's time for us to start doing that. Like tomorrow, it's a new week. It's time for you to plan what you want to do. I know there are some extra things you might not really do because things can come up, we all understand. But if you have a guideline, if you have a clue to what you're doing, there will be a form of direction, there will be a form of way that you know this is what you're doing, rather than just doing something out of randomly, because you realize you're gonna put your energy and your resources in what is not important to you. And at the end of the day you realize, oh, what have I really achieved today? So you won't have the stress. But if you actually do things right, you know what to think, you have your to-do list, you know what you're doing, you know when to do this, you know when to talk to people, you know how to go about your things, you would realize you have so much free time that you can even do other things. But if you don't plan, you've actually failed. We all know planning is very important, and this has caused a lot of people so many things. And they keep saying, oh my God, I've not actually done a lot, I'm stressed. You would be stressed if you don't get organized. So it's very important, viewers, organization of your life. You have your life, you need to take hold of it and get it organized to actually achieve a lot in life. So we need to, as viewers, we need to actually realize we need to take charge of our life. We need to know how to manage this stress. You need to get perspective. When we stress or overwhelming, we need to take a walk. We need to breathe in and out. We need to, when things are so tense and we don't know what to do other than saying a negative, other than misbehaving or doing what we will going to regret forever, we need to take that breathing. And the last thing, we need to get organized. We need to have the sense of organization in our life. It goes a long way in every aspect of our life. And we see it, when we do all this, we realize we get to get that charged life, and we're getting older, we need to live meaningful life. It's not like when we're young and when we don't actually understand a lot of things. So with that, it's better for us not to make our issue or our situation a stress case today. We would realize we would have a full life, we would live without stress, we wouldn't have health issues, we just have minor things, we won't be having all the headaches. Some people that I've known, they have headaches every day of their life. I've heard people tell me, and I wonder why. Because they are tied up with so many things. But if we do all these as said from the beginning of this video, I think this will help someone out there how to manage stress, and doing that, we would have a charged life. I hope someone has actually learned one or two things from today's topic, and I thank you all for coming on tonight, and I hope to see you super soon. Thank you for coming. Have a lovely night. Thank you.